Today we're going to be making these little gifting gnomes and able to put little mini shots inside each of these gnomes. Supplies we will need to do our gifting gnome is 4 colors of yarn. We'll need 1 to 2 colors for the shirt and the hat, 1 color for the beard, and then 1 color for the face and the hands. We'll also need a cup for the inside of our gnome. I use these 2-ounce measuring cups. You can also get little plastic disposable shot glasses of your choice, or a regular shot glass works as well. We'll need a rubber band to cinch our top part on. So here you can see that it's cinched so the cup does not fall out. We'll need 2 hooks. We have a 7 4.5 millimeter and an E 3.5 millimeter hook that we'll be using for this project. Pipe cleaner for the arms so they can bend and move. A stitch marker to track your rounds. Scissors are always helpful. Need our tapestry needle for sewing our face and arms on. And if you wish, googly eyes and a hot glue gun to glue these eyes on. And then whatever you would like to put in your little mini gnome, about the size of an airplane bottle shot works, or spray hand sanitizer. We're gonna start with the body or shirt of our gnome. So to start, we're gonna do a magic ring. And inside our magic ring, we're going to single crochet 7. And 7, and on the last stitch of our first round, we're going to pull our magic circle tight. And for round 2, we're going to be doing 2 single crochets all the way around. And we're going to work in continuous rounds. So our second round will be 14 stitches to the end. At the end of our second round, we can place a stitch marker in that last stitch to help us track our rounds. For round 3, we want 18 stitches at the end, so we're going to do 2 single crochets, which is an increase, and then 2 single crochets in each of the next 2 stitches. So 2 single crochets in 1, single crochet, and we're going to do that 3 more times, and at the end we're going to end up with 2 more single crochets that we're going to have to do in the last 2 stitches of the second round. That will give us 18 stitches at the end. And then when we do our round 4, we're going to want to do in the back loops only, because we're going to be done doing the base of our gnome. And we want to work up the sides of the cups. So on this last stitch, we're going to take our stitch marker, move it up to our new round. And at this point, it should be about the size of the base of your cup. So row 4 is going to be 18 stitches as well. We're going to work in the back loops only of each of these stitches all the way around. On the last stitch of round 4, we're going to take our stitch marker and move it up. Round 5 is a single crochet in each of the stitches, so we'll end up with 18 stitches by the end of round 5. And we're going back to working through both loops. For round 6, we're going to be doing 2 increases, so we'll end up with a total of 20 stitches. And to do that, we're going to do 8 single crochets. And then in our 9th one, we're going to do an increase, so 2 single crochets. And we'll do that twice for a total of 20 stitches. Six, 7, 8, and then our 2 increases in that last stitch, and then move our stitch marker up. And for round 7, we're just going to be doing 20 single crochets around. Coming to the end stitch of our round 7. For round 8, we're going to be increasing to 24 stitches. So we're going to do 4 single crochets and then our increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, and our increase. We're going to do that 3 more times. So we'll end on an increase. For rounds 9 through 12, we're going to be doing 24 around. So just single crochet around for the next 4 rows. Then round 10, 24 single crochets. Round 11, 24 single crochets. And round 12, 24 single crochets. And that last stitch of round 12. Before we move on to round 13, we're going to make sure our cup fits inside the body. This is what's going to give it some structure. And for round 13, we're going to be doing half double crochets, and we're going to put our rubber band inside those half double crochets. So we're first going to hold our rubber band at row 12, and then when we wrap around and when we put our hook through to pull our loop, we're going to make sure our rubber band is over our hook and that our stitch works around that rubber band. And for each half double crochet, we're just going to make sure that that rubber band is in between our stitches. And we're going to work 24 half double crochets around, making sure that we catch that rubber band with each lower loop we pull through. So we have our rubber band stuck between our stitches, and when we make it to that last stitch, we're going to take out our stitch marker, and we're done with that for the body. And then we're just going to slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to cut and weave in our end. So the end of your body should be slightly cinched on the top. And that way when we put our cup in our short, it is securely in there. Moving on to our hat, we are also going to be using our 7 4.5 millimeter hook and starting with a magic ring. And we're going to do 3 single crochets for our first round. And after we do those 3 single crochets, we're going to pull our magic ring tight. Then for our round 2, we're going to do 5 single crochets. So we're going to do our increase in our first one. So 2 single crochets in this first stitch. One single crochet and then another increase. And we are still working in our continuous rounds. I generally don't put my stitch marker in until I get about 8 stitches in because I find that it gets in the way more than it helps to track. Our round 3, we're going to do 6 single crochets. So we're going to increase in our first stitch here. And then in the next 4, we're just going to single crochet around. And then for our round 4, we're going to do another 6 single crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For our round 5, we're going to be doing 8 single crochets. So we're going to do an increase and then 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets. At the end of our round 5, we can place a stitch marker to help keep track of our rounds. And for round 6, we're going to be increasing by 2 again. So we're going to do our increase stitch. And then we're going to do 3 single crochets. We're going to do that twice for a total of 10 stitches at the end of our round 6. When we get to the end of round 6, we'll move our stitch marker up. And then for round 7, again, we're going to increase by 2. So we'll do our increase single crochet 4, increase single crochet 4 to end up with 12 stitches at the end of round 7. Round 8, we're going to be increasing by 3 stitches. So we're going to do our single crochet increase, so 2 single crochets in the next stitch, followed by 3 single crochets, and we're going to do that a total of 3 times. So when we get to our last stitch, we will have 15 total stitches for round 8. For round 9, we're going to be doing 15 single crochets around. Round 10, we're going to be increasing by 3 stitches again. So we're going to do 4 single crochets, our increased stitch, 4 single crochets, our increased stitch, 4 single crochets, and our increased stitch. So a total of 3 times to end up with 18 stitches at the end of our round 10. Round 11, we are going to be increasing by 3 again. So we'll do our 5 single crochets, increased stitch, for a total of 3 times to end up with 21 stitches at the end of our round 11. Round 12, we're going to be increasing by 3 once more. So we're going to do a total of 6 single crochets and then our increase 3 times. So we end up with a total of 24 stitches at the end of our round 12. Round 16, we're going to do 24 half double crochets around. So the brim of the hat will just be a little bit thicker. Helps the hat to stay on just a little bit better. For rounds 13 through 15, we're going to be single crocheting 24 around just to give some length to our hat. So round 13, 24 single crochets. Round 14, again, we're going to be doing 24 single crochets around. Round 15, our last round of single crochets. So 24 single crochets around. At the end of our round 16, we'll do our last half double crochet. And then same as the body, slip stitch, and then cut, tie, and weave in our ends. We'll be moving on to our beard. So we'll have our white yarn and our 4.5 millimeter hook. We'll do our chain 2, and for our row 1, we're going to be working in the back bump. So back bump, and we'll single crochet 1, chain 1, and turn. And then we're going to do an increase stitch, so we'll do 2 single crochets for row 2, chain 1, turn, and we're going to do 2 increase stitches for row 3, so we'll end up with 4 single crochets, and a chain 1, turn. For row 4, we're going to increase 2 again, so we're going to do our increase stitches on the end, so increase, and then 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches, and then our increase single crochet, and then another chain 1, turn. And for rows 5, 6 and 7, we're just going to be doing 6 single crochets across to give our beard some length. So you can do one more row or one less row depending on how long you want your beard to be. If you do make your beard longer or shorter, for row 8, you're going to want to adjust your sides. So row 7, 6 single crochets across. And then we're going to create a border on our beard. So we're going to do a chain 1, and this time we're not going to turn. We're going to single crochet 6 down the side of our beard. And then when we make it back to row 1, or back to our chain, we're going to do a peacock stitch with a single crochet on each side. So single crochet, and then the peacock stitch is chain, and then you're going to slip stitch back into that first chain you made, and then another single crochet. And this creates a point on the beard. And then we're going to do 6 single crochets back up to our row 7. And to join there, we're going to chain 1 and then slip stitch to join. We're going to slip stitch one more, and then we're going to cut our yarn, leaving a long enough tail to be able to sew our beard onto the body. We're going to be attaching the face to the beard, so we can start with our slip knot, and we're going to go into that chain. So we're going to be working 8 across for the face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to be working back loops only for the first row of the face. And we're going to want to use our E 3.5 millimeter hook for a little bit tighter stitches on the face. So we'll cast on, and then single crochet 8 stitches, back loops only for the face. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then for our round 2 of the face, because it's going to start with a double crochet, we're going to chain 2 and then turn. We're going to double crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then half double crochet, single crochet, single crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet, and then 2 double crochets in the last 2 stitches. Now we're going to chain 2, turn for our round 3. We're going to double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch 2 together. So we're going to do a decrease stitch with a slip stitch, and then single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. For round 4, we're going to go back to our single crochets, so chain 1, turn, and we're going to single crochet 7 across. For rows 5 and 6, we're going to be creating a border. So our first step is to just make it down to the side. So our slip stitches are going to go down our side. So when we do our chain 1, we're not going to turn. And each double crochet is going to be like 2 stitches. So we're going to end up with 6 slip stitches by the time we make it down to our corner. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn. And those slip stitches are going to be worked into our row 6. So we're going to single crochet a border. And so we're going to do 6 up the side. And then once we get our 6 up the side, we're going to be working in that top stitch. And we're going to do 3 single crochets for that top corner. And then there will be single crochets across the top until we make it to the next top corner, where we are going to do another 3 single crochets. And then we'll work 6 single crochets down the other side of the face. And when we make it to the bottom, we're going to slip stitch and then tie and weave our ends. For our hands, we're going to be making 2 of them. And we're going to start with the same color we did our face in. We're going to do our magic ring and single crochet 4 into that magic ring. And after we finish with our 4 single crochets, we are going to pull our ring tight. And for round 2 of the hands, we're going to increase by 2. So we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, and we'll end up with 6 single crochets at the end of our round 2. And then for round 3, we're going to do 6 single crochets around. 1, 2. After we finish our round 3 of our hand, we're going to change to our arm or shirt color. And we'll color change. And then we're going to be doing back loops only for our round 1 of the arm. And we're going to increase by 1. So in this first stitch, we're just going to do our increase. So our 2 single crochets in that stitch. And then 1 single crochet all the way around, back loops only. And then for rounds 2 through 6 for the arm, we're just going to continue single crocheting 7 around. And you can add or decrease around depending on how long you want your arms to be. When we make it to the end of our round 6, we're just going to slip stitch 2. And we're going to cut and we're going to leave a longish tail so we can sew our arm onto the body. Then we're going to make another arm that looks exactly like this one. So I have our 2 arms and our face. We're just about ready to sew them all together. But before we do that, we're going to finish the embellishments on the face. So we can hot glue some eyes, and you can choose which size you'd like. If you'd like them big or tiny or a mix of them. Kind of decide what look you want to give your gnome. And we'll take a dab of hot glue right where you want to place your eye. And then hopefully get the eye in the same place on the other side. Once we have our eyes in place, we can then do the eyebrows. So we'll take a little bit of the beard color and we'll sew on some eyebrows. And depending on what look you want, you can give them angry brows or sad brows or happy brows. Whatever look you would like to give your gnome. Your gnome will also want a nose, so we're going to do around one of the face, and we're just going to loop around a few times, about 2 to 3 stitches, and depending on the yarn you use and how prominent you want the nose will depend on how many times you loop around. I usually do about 6 or 7 times. And after you've looped around a few times to make it somewhat prominent, you can go back and go underneath all your loops and just circle around that outer edge and then pull that down so the outer edges of your nose stay tagged down. And it kind of pinches them a little bit in the corners. So we're just going to knot around the corners. And pull those knots behind just a little bit. Just to make the nose a little bit more prominent. Once our face embellishments are done, we can then sew our face onto our body, and we're going to sew this top edge of the beard onto our row 13. Just weaving back and forth until we get that top edge of the beard secured to row 13 of the shirt. So once I have my first row connected, I take out the cup to make it just a little bit easier. And we're going to sew our beard onto our shirt. And I go through the middle of the stitches, so kind of like doing a back loop only. We're gonna stitch, so our bottom peacock stitch of the beard is 1 row from the base. Once our beard is secured into place, we'll be placing the arms, and we'll count about 2 stitches away from the beard, And we'll loop our 3 inches of pipe cleaner around one loop. And then we can take the end, and if you have some jewelry pliers, it can be helpful to fold in the ends and smash down the little pokey parts so you don't have pokey wire ends poking out the hands of your gnome. And we'll take one of our arms, slide it over the pipe cleaner, and then sew and secure our arm on. Once we have our first arm sewn on, we'll do the same thing for the other side. And do about 2 stitches away from the beard. Weave our pipe cleaner through. And then place and secure our second arm. With both arms placed, you can bend your pipe cleaner arms wherever you would like them to be. And then you can place whatever you would like inside, whether it's a little single shot, or if you have some oils or lotions you wanted to place inside. And then place your little hat on your gnome guy. And then you have a little gifting gnome to gift somebody something small.